Hi, Zoe. It's me, Nino, Godfather, Uncle Matt. Hi. I'd like to read you a story. This one is David and Goliath. Um, yeah, I'd like to read you a book or a story. So here we go. God's people had some scary enemies, but the Philistines were the scariest of them all. And now the Philistines had come to fight them. The Philistines had a secret weapon called Goliath. Goliath was a terrifying soldier and, worst of all, a giant. A giant so strong, so tall, and so scary that no one had ever been able to fight him and live to tell the tale. So there they were, the Philistines standing on one top of a hill, and God's people standing on top of the other. Every day, Goliath came out and shouted, "Send me your best soldiers to fight me. If he wins, we will be your slaves. But if I win, you will be our slaves." No one spoke. No one moved. "Chickens!" Goliath bellowed. "Your God can't save you. I'll put you on toast." His beady, greedy eyes glowed at them hungrily underneath his horrible helmet, as if at any minute he really might gobble them all up. And he laughed his terrible laugh. Ha 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 ha. It boomed, echoing horribly around and around the dry, dry valley. Look, there he is. There's Goliath. And there's God's people. He's big. Yeah. Well, Goliath might just as well have been a green, slimy monster with 3 heads because God's people froze in fear. Their eyes glazed over and they turned deathly pale. They knew if someone didn't do something quick, if someone didn't save them. But God would do something. He would send someone to save them. Now, remember that David was the youngest son of Jesse, and his brothers were soldiers in the army. One day, David brought his brothers their lunches, and he saw Goliath, and he saw how scared everyone was. "Don't be afraid," David said. "I'll fight him for you." "You're only a little shepherd boy," the king said, "and Goliath is a great soldier. How will you fight him?" "God will help me," David said. So the king gave David his royal armor to wear, but it was too heavy and too big for David, so David couldn't even walk. "I won't need this," David said. Instead, David picked out 5 smooth stones from the stream. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He took his slingshot and walked towards Goliath. Step, step, step. I'll show you this quick. There's David wearing the king's armor. It is too big for him. So there he's picking the stones out of the stream. The next page like this. Goliath walked towards David. Thud, thud, thud. "You?" Goliath peered down at the small boy. "I'm little," David shouted up to him, "but God is great." Goliath laughed, an even terrible laugh than he usually did. With just one swing of his giant sword, Goliath could finish the boy off. But David kept going. "It isn't how strong you are or how many swords and spears you have that will save you. It is God who saves you. This is God's battle, and God always wins his battles." David put a stone in his sling, swung it around, and let it go. Then the little stone flew, whizz, like a bullet through the air, and it struck Goliath, thud, right between the eyes. Goliath stopped laughing. Look at, there he is. There's Goliath, There's little David throwing his stone. Goliath stumbled and staggered and crash! He fell dead. When the Philistines saw Goliath was dead, they ran away. And when God's people saw them running away, they cheered. God had saved his people. David was a hero. Many years later, God would send his people another young hero to fight for them and to save them. But this hero would fight the greatest battle the world has ever known. There he is. There's David. He beat Goliath. And there's the God's people cheering, praising God for David overcoming Goliath. So, that's the story for this time. I love you, sweetheart, and I will talk to you later. Night-night.